students, we are now on Module 3 of our course, Building and Enhancing New Literacies Across the Curriculum. So before we begin our discussion for Module 3, we are going to connect some important details, highlights of our discussion. For the past two modules, for Module 1, we focus our discussion on the various definitions as well as uh, types of literacy. For Module 2, we defined uh, 21st century skills and literacy, as well as we explained the various critical attributes of 21st century education. So ano yung mga dapat makita sa proseso ng pagkatuto in the teaching and learning process in the 21st century. So for this particular module, we are going to focus our discussion on the basic strategies for developing literacy. So para ma-attain natin at ma-achieve natin ang literacy, we need the three basic skills. We have reading, second, uh, writing, and the third one, our numeracy skills or counting. Now, for this particular module, first we need to uh, understand how we are going to develop literacy through reading. What are the basic strategies for developing literacy? What are the basic strategies in teaching reading skills, especially sa mga emerging stages ng mga mag-aaral natin. Ito yung mga bata, no? So, for introduction, the best way for children to grow as readers is for them to constantly practice and engage in reading. Reading research tells us that thinking about what your brain is doing when reading or being metacognitive helps one to progress regarding comprehension. So it is important that uh, when we are reading, at the same time, we are also thinking about what we are reading. So that is connected with the term metacognition, wherein uh, while we are understanding what we are reading, no, it helps us more to gain knowledge and understanding of the text, as well as to comprehend the thought, no, yung pinakadiwa ng binabasa natin at pinag-aaralan, lalo na sa mga bata, no? Children need to know what and why they are reading. Implementing literacy strategies will help them accomplish this. So still, we are following these two intended learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to compare the basic concepts of traditional and 21st century literacies and skills. Second, explain the features and critical attributes of the 21st century literacies. So the what are the strategies that we need to employ to utilize in order to uh, help, no, assist or guide our students, especially in attaining comprehension in reading, no? Research on reading indicates that good readers use a variety of strategies to make sense of what they read. This is often referred to as making meaning or literacy strategies. No? There are some strategies that we are doing or employing in order for us to understand what we are reading, no? Sometimes may mga na-encounter tayo na uh, they are reading loudly just to understand, no, the words that they are reading, just to comprehend the meaning of each word, of each statement or phrases. So this same research has shown that effective readers use specific strategies when reading that show they understand or comprehend what they are reading. 6 such strategies are making connections, visualizing, inferring, questioning, determining importance, and synthesizing. So these 6 strategies, no, are being utilized, no, by different people, no, whether they are students, professionals, no, academics, for them to understand or comprehend what they are reading. Let us take a closer look at how these 6 literacy strategies affect reading comprehension. So let us begin with the first one. Here we have making connections and visualizing. So ano ba ang nangyayari pag ginagawa ang pag-uugnay ng mga binabasa at ang pagbubuo ng mga imahe o visualizing? Now, the brain is a learning machine. Everything you do, think, and wonder has the potential to be stored as a neuron or a cell in your brain. So these neurons form communities by branching out and connecting to other neurons. So these neurons, or what we call the brain cells, are grouped by similarities, forming memories that make sense. For example, your understanding of the word around helps you understand that the word round is tantamount to shape, no, uh, that looks like uh, a moon or a ball, no. So understanding of the word round helps you understand and make connections to several objects, including the moon or a ball. So for a particular word, no, we are going to connect this word, no, making connections to physical objects. Either these objects can be found inside your house, inside the classroom, or in the environment. So you are going to apply this literacy skill, now making connections and visualizing, for you to be able to understand more and comprehend more what you are reading. No, you're going to connect concepts, no, abstract concepts na nababasa mo sa aklat with the physical uh, physical objects that can be found in a particular place or area. So reading is no exception. When children read, they are reminded of previously stored knowledge or schema. The books they read can be connected in 3 ways. Text to self, reminding children of something that happened in their own lives. So may mga nababasa sila, whether that is part of their lesson o leisure reading lamang, no, nagbabasa sila dahil hobby nila, then yung mga nababasa nila, they can connect it with their day-to-day experiences, no, yung mga activities nila, no. That is text to self, reminding children ng mga pangyayari sa kanilang buhay na may kaugnayan doon sa kanilang binabasa. So that is making connection, at the same time visualizing. Sometimes they empathize, no? You put yourself on someone else's shoes. No? Kung nakikita nila yung sarili nila on a particular character ng storya na binabasa nila, o ng novel na binabasa nila, then kung ano yung nangyayari doon sa character ng novel na yan, no? That's one example of text to self, no? Okay? You connect your experiences, your day-to-day experiences with what you are reading for you to be able to understand it more deeply. Okay? Second, we have text to text when a book reminds them of another they've read. So kung may nabasa sila halimbawa na novel or a fiction, no? Tapos yung nabasa nila ay kahalintulad din ng nabasa nila ibang books. So that is text to text. Like for example, if they are researching, no, nagre-research sila, and they are using various references or textbook, no? Uh, uh, yung pagbabasa nila ng mga aklat na halos magkakaparehas ang tema, ang subject matter at content, that is one example of text to text, making connections and visualizing. Or text to world, when the text reminds them of something they've seen in the world at large. For example, itong estudyante natin ay at par, no? Na very immersed with current issues and events, no? Talagang he or she is following the news. Tapos pag may nabasa siya na isang bahagi sa isang reading material na magpapaalala sa kanya ng mga kaganapan ng mga pangyayari sa ating kapaligiran, sa ating bansa at sa buong daigdig, that is text to world. So remember those three, no, under making connections and visualizing. Text to self, pag may nabasa ang bata na relatable or connected sa kanyang day-to-day experiences, sa kanyang buhay. Text to text, pag may nabasa ang bata na aklat, nakahalintulad din ng mga content o subject matter na nabasa ng bata sa ibang libro o reading material. And then text to world, okay, when passages, portion of the text or reading material reminds them of something na nakita nila, na witness nila, nabasa, narinig, no? Sa social media, sa television, sa radio, sa newspaper, or even in the magazines and other printed materials. So encourage readers to make connections first text to self, no? Then text to text, then text to world, no? Simulan natin sa sarili natin, no? Kasi doon tayo mas makaka-relate kung ano yung mga experiences natin, no? Sometimes we can formulate questions, no? Especially when we are teaching literature, or you English teachers, sometimes you need to formulate questions, no, that can draw or elicit responses from your students. Nakukuha sila ng mga idea nila in connection with their own experiences. So magsimula muna tayo sa text to self, no? Then you can ask questions with your students kung ano yung mga nabasa nila from the text or from the reading material na nakita din nila from other material. Then, text to world. So, palaki ng palaki yung scope na magsisimula tayo sa sarili nila, sa kanilang mga pansariling karanasan o eksperyensya. Pangalawa, lalabas tayo doon sa reading material, maghahanap tayo ng iba pang mababasahin nila, na encounter nila yung idea, yung konsepto na pinag-uusapan, hanggang lalabas na tayo sa ating comfort zone sa community natin, at kung ano yung manangyayari sa ibang bansa at sa buong daigdig na may kinalaman doon sa pinag-aaralan nating babasahin. All readers make mental pictures or visualizations of the words they read. When readers visualize the text, They are then able to understand elements of the story, such as plot, in a deeper way. Sometimes when we read stories, nai-imagine natin, na-visualize natin, kahit wala tayo doon sa lugar ng pinangyarihan, sa plot, sa setting, no, ay ating ma-imagine, perform sa ating mind ang isang larawan base doon sa ating binabasa. So that is visualizing. So we are going to connect yung text, yung mga binabasa natin, and yung sa binivisualize natin. Mas lalo nating mauunawaan yung binabasa natin when we visualize it, when we imagine it, through mental pictures. To make learning visible, have children draw and talk about mental pictures that a story prompts. So sometimes, di ba sa mga elementary students natin, we usually ask them to draw a portion of the story, yung pinaka-climax sometimes, yung pinaka-highlight ng story, yung pinaka-importanteng bahagi ng story. We ask them to draw, or sometimes we ask them to share stories in connection with the parts of the story or reading material or text that we are studying. Second, questioning and inferring. What do you mean by questioning and inferring? All readers ask questions as they read. They wonder what will happen next. Lalo kung kapanapanabik yung binabasa natin, Ano na kaya mangyayari? Lalo yung mga, sa English, meron kayong, you need to hone your skills in storytelling, Especially pag sa kindergarten, sa grade 1, may mga learning activities, may mga approaches or methodologies kayo na kung saan ilalapit ninyo ang lesson through storytelling. So in questioning and inferring, okay, as we continue, they wonder what will happen next or what a character is thinking or when the story will shift. O yung tatawag ating twist, magbabago yung takbo ng storya. By asking questions, sometimes ginagawa natin yan, the middle of the story, lalo kung nag-storytelling tayo, ano nangyari kay Pagong? Ano nangyari kay Unggoy? Diba? To make the interaction more interesting, at mahuhook natin ang attention ng mga estudyante natin, sometimes we insert questioning, especially when we are doing storytelling, lalo sa mga bata. Okay? Children engage. Engage, We need to engage them. We need to hook. We need to cut their attention, with the text and become more deeply involved, which allows them to understand and comprehend in a rich, powerful way. Okay? Kaya importante, class, na ang teacher magaling sa art of questioning, Sometimes simple questions, Kung magaling tayo mag-formulate ng questions, we can easily get our students' attention just by merely asking simple questions, so that our students will become more engaged, They will participate more, they will interact more with our lesson or activity, Point out the natural questions being asked in your head as you read stories aloud to children. Okay? Other strategies is to create a question chart for the books you read aloud and begin questioning pages in your students' reading notebooks. As books become more complex, the plot becomes less straightforward. Not all information is directly given to a reader. Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na mga context clues. Now, those context clues, no, na hindi very obvious na magbibigay at magtuturo sa plot, no, ng istorya, sometimes we need to dig deeper sa pinaka ilalim ng istorya para makuha yung pinaka-sense, na yung pinaka-diwa or thought of the message of the story, no? Not all information nga is directly given to a reader. We are left to connect the dots or infer on our own. Sometimes may mga storya nga, class, di ba, na yung yung reader ang magbibigay ng panapusan, no, ng pagwawakas ng storya. Paano natin bibigyan ng wakas ang ating kwento o storya. For example, in the story Little Red Riding Hood, we know the wolf is mean and selfish because of the way he acts, not because the story tells us so. No? Walang sinabing salita, no, or words. Obviously, doon sa story ng Little Red Riding Hood, pero dahil doon sa mga action words, no, we can tell kung ano yung characteristics, no, ng wolf based from the actions, no, because of the way he acts. We have inferred this important concept. That is what you call, that is what you mean by inferring, no? You infer, you draw conclusions based from the words or the statement provided by the text. Mag-i-infer ka. Bubuo ka ng sabihin na natin ng iyong paglalagom base doon po sa inihahain ng teksto, no, sariling pangunawa. Teachers should instruct inference by showing how students are already doing it on their own. They read some simple stories and talk about what is in the text and what has been inferred. So when you are going to ask students with regards to their inference on the story, you need to ask them, no, how papaano nila naunawaan ang teksto. Babalik tayo doon po sa making connections and visualization. You may use the three strategies in making connections and visualization for you to be able to arrive to answers of students related to inference, no? So that you can elicit inferences from your students. Okay, we have here inferring through questioning. Questioning, so according to Harvey and Goovis, authors of Strategies That Work, questioning and inferring work in tandem to enhance understanding of text. No, it's not just merely visualizing. No, you need to dig deeper on the meaning of the story or the text for you to be able to provide your inference. Okay, when you are inferring, no, the schema here is to use text clues. No, when you say schema, that is how when you uh, how are you when you are reading the text? No, you need to relate those passages, no, yung mga nilalaman ng text, to yourself, to your own experiences, no, to other reading materials that you read, no, to current issues and events, plus the context clues, no, the text clues that is found on the uh, reading material, so that you can be able to formulate your inference. We are now down to the last two sets of basic strategies for literacy. So we have here importance and synthesizing. Books generally contain a lot of information. However, not all information is important to the plot of the story. The description of what Little Red Riding Hood is wearing is fun to read but does not matter. No, wala siyang kaugnayan, no, sa kahihinatnan ni Little Red Riding Hood. It's just the color of the hood of the main character. No? Explain to students that authors write to entertain and teach us. They use words to make the story interesting, no? Pero hindi lahat ng bahagi ng istorya o ng kwento ay importante o may kahalagahan sa kahihinatnan ng tauhan sa istorya o kwento, maging na rin na doon po sa tinatawag nating aral o lesson na mapupulot mula doon sa istorya. The most complex reading strategy, no, this is what we call synthesizing. No, pag sinabi niyong synthesizing, from the root word synthesis, no, pagsama-samahin, no, you are going to merge all the ideas over the course of a text to further understanding. No? Like summarizing, synthesizing requires readers to read the entire story or the novel. However, synthesizing does not just happen at the end of the book. Rather, it happens as the reader gets new information. So synthesizing can come even if you are not yet done with what you are reading. No? O pwedeng you are already synthesizing, especially at the middle of the reading of that particular text. The reader pieces new insights together to understand. So you choose the important uh, events or plots do sa story. Then by merging all these important plots, no, you are going to create your own synthesis of the story, no. And at the same time, while you are piecing, okay, you are merging rather these small details but significant details of the story, you are now uh, creating your own understanding. At the same time, you can make predictions with uh, what will be the end of the story, or ano yung magiging kahinatnan ng mga characters, no? So this complex strategy can be taught at any age. By its nature, it should be taught after students have had practice with the other 5 strategies. So you need to start with making connections and visualization. Then, of course, you need to go back to inferring and questioning. Then, see the importance before you can arrive with synthesizing. Okay. So here are some of the references. You may access it uh, connect with the uh, link provided here. May videos po dyan sa ating link. So, magkaroon tayo ng recap. So here are what you call this, the basic strategies for developing literacy, especially developing the reading skills of your students. So these are making connections and visualizing. Under making connections and visualizing, you need to hone students uh, to relate the material that they are reading to their own experiences, their day-to-day experiences. Second, to other materials or books that they've read, making connections with other materials, other reading materials that they've read. And then the third one is making connections with the outside world, making connections with current events, with issues that confronts our society. Next, you need to question and elicit inferences from your students by using the schema, make connections and visualization at the same time, looking for text clues or context clues, no? Because not all uh, uh, deeper understanding, not all messages, real messages of the story or the material can be uh, understand uh, through reading straightforward uh, words or text. You need to dig deeper, no, and students need to connect the dots so that they can be able to formulate their own inferences. Students also need to uh, recognize the importance, significant plot of the story to be able to merge ideas over the course of a text, okay, and make predictions throughout the book, attaining what we call the skill of synthesizing a reading material or a text. So after this recorded lecture, you will answer this assessment part of our module. No, again, please be direct with your answer. So for the first part, no, you are going to define these three terms using your own understanding. Then you are going to write an essay of 1 to 2 paragraphs that defines literacy strategies and notes their importance in reading comprehension. Please follow the rubrics or criteria for this essay. Thank you very much. And uh, before we end pala, no, you have your reflection. So this is an ungraded portion of your assessment, but please provide answers for the three parts of the reflection. So that ends our uh, recorded lecture for session 3. Thank you very much. See you again for the next discussion on EDCK6, Building Enhancing New Literacies across the curriculum, Module 4.